Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Do you find yourself asking, where does the time go over and over again? It just slips through your fingers like sand. You know you have the same number of hours as everyone else, but it certainly doesn't feel like that. You are just wondering, where does the time go and how do I pull it back to me? How do I contain more of it? If this is you, you might be suffering from what I call slippery time syndrome. The time is just slipping away from you. You're trying to hold on and it is just slipping right out of your hands. So what can we do when we find this happening to us, when we find ourselves saying, I don't know exactly where the time goes. Or maybe you think, I just don't have enough time. I know where it goes, but I don't think enough time. I have enough time. I am going to give you the same suggestion for both of these options. And this is to engage in a little bit of time tracking. Now, when I say time tracking, your mind might be shutting down. It might be saying like, no, that's too tedious. That's too boring. How am I possibly going to do that? If you're a lawyer, you might be saying, I know how to do that. I have to do that in 6-minute increments all of the time, right? Or if you have other kind of billable hours work, it might be something that you're used to, but not necessarily something that you're so excited about. But I want you to be excited about time tracking. We're not going to do it forever, but time tracking can be a really effective tool to help you get some insights around where your time is actually going so that you can go ahead and make some changes to make your time work better for you. So time tracking is an exercise that I actually do with all of my clients. For at least a week, we track time from the moment they wake up till the moment they go to bed, evenings, weekends, work time, all of it. We want to see where the time is actually going. And I would say that most people are not like super, super excited to start this exercise, but almost everyone is very, very happy that they have done it, right? And usually within a day or two, people are finding that they're getting a lot of insights here. So most of my clients, we all do this together. There are a lot of different ways to do it. And we get some insights even when we thought we might not have any. I remember once I was working with a tech executive and he found that he was spending about 4 hours a day on YouTube and Reddit in 5-minute chunks. He had no idea. He thought he was spending a lot of time, but a lot was like an hour in his mind, right? He was shocked. Once we knew that, we were able to make some changes, right? Things sometimes go the other direction. I remember one client I was working with, and he was just so worried that he was spending no time with his kids, right? His estimates, I don't remember exactly what it was, but his estimates were low. When he started tracking his time, he realized that he was actually spending about 3 times as much time with his kids as he thought. It's just that time, it goes faster because you're having fun, right? Time is subjective. And so we learn a lot of things about ourselves through this process. Now, when we start tracking, there are a few reasons, real specific reasons that we want to do this, right? And because it isn't the easiest of all things to do, we want some really good reasons to make it happen. So the first one is that we can start figuring out if we are doing kind of non-essential or super time-consuming things that could potentially be delegated to someone else, right? Someone in our family, outsourced, someone at work, etc. Many, many, many of my clients who are managers, when they start to track time, start realizing how much work they're taking on themselves that could easily be delegated to their team and that would provide growth opportunities for their team. Now, the second reason that time tracking is really important and it can help us a lot is that it helps us to understand our time estimates, right? How good or how bad are we at estimating how long something is going to take? Once we start to track it, we start to see, maybe we're always off by 50% or whatever that is. We start to become a better judge of how long something is going to take us to do. Now, a third reason why time tracking can be really helpful is that it helps us stay focused. So in the wise words of Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets managed. And some people find that just the act of time tracking keeps them focused. Kind of like if you've ever done any food tracking or food journaling, if you have to write down that you ate a cupcake, you're maybe less likely to eat that cupcake, right? In the same way, if we have to write down that we spent, 45 minutes on Instagram in the middle of the workday, we might be less likely to actually do that. So some people really like it because it helps them stay focused. And those people that find that, some of them just keep time tracking because they find it a really useful technique for their focus. And then the last reason, and I think maybe the most important reason why we want to time track is because it helps us to understand how well our time is being spent, how well is it aligned with our goals, right? So we're spending our time on stuff. How well is that aligned with our intentions, with our values, with our goals? And oftentimes we find that there's a mismatch, and that's where the interesting stuff comes in. That's where we've got something to work with, right? Now, if you're thinking, Yes, maybe I'd like to start time tracking, but I have zero idea where to start. I mean, there are lots of different ways you can start. There's a free app called Toggle. I think it's Toggl. That is a method you can use. If you ever work with me, I have, my own templates that you can use, spreadsheets and things like that. And I want to share that I also just published an intentional time journal. And I published this, it's available on Amazon. You can get the link right down below. Because I wanted people to have an easy way to track their time that didn't feel so onerous and that felt a little bit more like journaling, because that's something that a lot of people like, enjoy, and do every day. And so if you're interested in getting started with time tracking, if you're interested in finding some insights out and being a little bit more reflective about your time so that you can actually make changes, and if you want a tool that will help you not only track your time, but also help you find those insights and help you make micro changes around your time, grab this intentional time journal. The link is right there below. Of course, you can time track any old way you want. So I'm certainly not suggesting that that is the only way. I mean, you can grab a notebook and start time tracking today. You can use the Notes app of your phone. But if you want a little more structure for that, if you want to have kind of guided time tracking, then I have published this option. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. Whatever way you track time, I think it's going to be a reasonable not reasonable. I think it is going to be a really great thing for you to do. Now, what about me? Do I track time? I track my own time for maybe about 2 weeks out of every year. So I don't do it all the time. I do find it a little bit onerous, but I find that the data is so important that I want to calibrate every once in a while. So for me, I track about 2 weeks of every year. I look at that data and I look at how well it's aligned to what my goals are, what my intentions are. I make sure that I'm not, sleeping too little or not exercising enough or not working too much, right? All of these things that are important to me. And having this calibration lets me be able to say, okay, I need to make a couple of tweaks over here. I need to make these changes. So I hope that I have inspired you to do some time tracking in whatever way works for you. If you want to grab that intentional time journal, the link is right below and you can do that. But really, any way for you to get started time tracking, you are going to gain valuable insights. Now, if you want more content like this and you want to see this every single week, then please go ahead and subscribe. If you have a method for time tracking that's other than something I've described today that works really well for you, so it's not an app, it's not a spreadsheet, it's not notes, it's something else, please let us know in the comments, because I bet other people would want to know about that as well.
What's up? It's the video editor here. Just want to quickly say that only 13.9% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So please do us a favor and subscribe. We're so close to 1K.